Hold on. We're going live on YouTube. Going live on YouTube. Double checking. Hold on. Are we live on YouTube? Okay, we are live on YouTube. I forgot to go live on YouTube. Hey, whoops. Whoopsies. Yeah, that's my bad. All right, so here's what we're going to do. One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I don't know why Unreal does not have a way for you to see when you're dragging things how many units you're going to the left and the right. Is that a thing you can change? Is that in like the editor preferences? Does anybody know? Is there a way to show like measure? Like, is there a way to show like when you're moving something around? If it shows like that's gotta be a thing. Like there's no way that's not a thing. You can only measure in the orthographic view. That's really annoying. Because now I have to like count. It's like, why do I have to count when instead the engine could potentially just show a little number underneath the gizmo? You know what I mean? Show transform widget position is a setting. No, I don't think that's it. Although there is a button to scale up and down the gizmo, which I guess is kind of neat. I guess that's kind of cool, I suppose, but there's nothing to show like, because I think Blender has that, right? When you're like moving things around, it shows you how many units it's moving. Now what I have to do is I have to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's not even easy to add a grid thing in here. You have to like go to your settings and it's 1,000, 100, 100, and 1,000, 1,000, and 100. So annoying. This is so annoying, dude. I almost feel like the middle section is actually too big, like a parking lot. Yeah, it's like really big. You could probably make some kind of utility widget that shows it. It's just really annoying that I have to turn that into an editor utility widget when I feel like that should be something that could have been in the engine. Like, even, like, look at me. Like, I'm just dragging things around. I don't know how many units I'm actually dragging it around. Or, you know what I mean? Like, maybe in UE5 there's a setting for it. If I were to turn it into an editor utility widget, I'd have to... I don't even know how I can... You can do actual measurements. You can do measurements in top-down. That's it. But I don't really want that. That's not really what I want. I'd want to be able to know if I'm moving something around, knowing how many units it goes. If I were to make an editor utility widget that showed that, how would it even work? Because what I was picturing is it would be underneath a gizmo, but obviously we can't do that. If I made it an editor utility widget, it'd have to be its own little window, and then I have no clue how it would even grab if I've started to drag something or whatnot. You know what I mean? I think UDK is something like that, or I'm misremembering. Been a few years since that. I'm not sure. I think I only booted up UDK once when I was younger. Didn't know at all what I was doing, and then I closed it. Actually, we'll leave these cars here. So this is literally just a parking lot, I guess. This middle section, I'd probably want like a wall, like a full-on wall to close this area off. I feel like that'd be kind of cool. I started out using Source SDK until a Steam update broke it for me. Then I switched to UDK and then UE4 when that came out. Part of me is like, I should just try to make my own fork of Unreal and work on that. But man, the amount of effort and work that would take kind of sucks. I wonder if I could somehow modify the gizmo with just a... with a plugin. Kind of if you hold Z and you click the screen, yeah, that zooms the FOV out. If you hold C, it does the opposite. It zooms it in. Yeah, hopefully Ogier. We'll see, man. That'll be my goal, is trying to add a lot more procedural generation in my level design process to kind of speed things up. Especially when I start working on like the zombie game stuff, we're going to be doing a lot of like apocalyptic stuff. Dude, this is crazy. Why is the shadow cached like that and it hasn't updated yet? It still hasn't updated. It's just, what is going... This project is becoming haunted. It's fucking haunted. We need to get out of here. Release it now, today, right now, this minute. It's haunted. Of course, I can't drag that there because... So it's weird because technically the root component, or not root, the component here is just a static mesh. In a static mesh component, or static mesh actor, the only thing that's in there is a static mesh component, and you can drag things onto it, right? You can drag a material on it. There must be some kind of code to get if you drag a material onto it. I would imagine maybe you could do the same I would imagine you could do the same on your own actor. There has to be a way. Wait, I'm using the same material. Why does this one look like it doesn't have a grid? But then this one has a grid. Where am I? Help. What? Why does it have a grid? What? Why does it have a grid? I just want a white material. I just want a white wall material. Ah, screw it. Fine. Mansion white. We'll use this material. Okay. We're using a lot of material variants, which I'm not too fond of. This is supposed to be very like simple materials. And here we are. Okay, so this is our simple parking lot. Maybe a little too simple. Oh, I don't like... Oh, yeah, I don't like this material because it's using like a plaster. Not a plaster, it's like a... I don't even know how to explain it. Not the material type I want. I don't want it to be glossy either. I don't have any like basic white materials. I got to block out white. Yo. Yo, block out white, man. Yo, it goes so hard. Block out white, baby. Hell yeah. I don't know why it wants me to check it out. I literally didn't even edit it. Let's go, Unreal. The bands are parked way too neatly. They usually park across the... Yeah, we'll probably modify this. This is just to get a scale reference of between the beams. Which way is our camera going to be? Well, we can choose. We have a choice. I feel like it'd be kind of cool if we did something like this. And let's get a gate. Never mind, we're going to get a fence. Which fence? We need the fence. The best fence. We need the fence. All right, fine. Just use this one. It might be a good idea to put a little beam in the middle here. Right in the center. Fence is the best defense. Fence defense. I wish I knew where the center was of this thing. See, that would be another tool I could create. Well, actually, I guess it doesn't really need to be a tool, to be honest, but... Would a car fit in here? Oh, yeah, totally. Now we could just scale it like this. And then we can do a cool thing where we have one of the fences down in here, and then the other one is open, so you can go through. Very cool, very cool. Little detail, you know what I mean? And then the player comes out of here. We can have like a little thing like this closed off. So the player comes out of here. And then we can do another thing like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You see how stupid this is, dude? You see how stupid this is? This is I hate this. This is dumb. Whatever. So we go through here. I could make this a fenced off area and make it so you have to kill all the enemies in the room for this to open. And that could be kind of cool. It could be a neat little idea. I'm thinking though, maybe we extend this a little bit. Do you think we're going to extend this a little bit? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Every time I enter your stream, you're whiteboxing another level. In this case, I am quite literally whiteboxing because the whole level's art style is white. It's as you can tell, these I have to change their material. I'm probably not going to keep this one on them, but you could see a bit of the... Actually, you know what? Maybe I will keep this color on this because it kind of works. It's like a different material. And then we got this area here. Also white, as you can tell. That's kind of the theme. It's like we're going through the Matrix, but like it's not the Matrix because legally I cannot call it that because that could get me in ginormous trouble. So this is the not Matrix. Name pending. Creating a level-based game has an interesting flow. It's you know, it's a problem-solving process for sure. I think it's an interesting problem-solving process. I think every level technically should be going through this kind of thinking process, though. Is like, how is the player going to come across this? What kind of cover are they going to use? What kind of cover is the enemy is going to use, or whatever, right? Even if it is a open world or whatever, I feel like I saw a Division article. I think the level designers of the Division always thought of every area almost like an engagement, like how it would go down, all that kind of stuff. They almost treated it like almost like linear levels in a way. It's kind of interesting. I feel like that's a good way of thinking about things because then you actually put context behind a lot of objects in an area, even if it is open world. Okay. We could make it so the player has to eliminate all the enemies in here for this gate to open. I feel like that could be kind of cool. This is not perfectly centered, I'm realizing, by the way. One fence is smaller than the other. Whatever. So what I could do is we bring this up like this, and then when the player beats the level, we just scale it up. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I actually don't know if I have any blueprints for this. I guess I could just create a sequencer for it. I make an open world game, but then I realize it just consists of many linear levels to a point that I put them on a separate level instance in the end, having almost the exact same flow as you do. I think that's a good way of going about it. I think. I don't know. I've never worked on an open world game yet, but even when I make my zombie survival game, I'm gonna almost treat it like not linear, but kind of linear, you know? Like give the player choice, but at the same time also lead gameplay. I think that's kind of the way to go about it. What even is an open world if not just a big level? I think the thing is I think a lot of open world games that in my opinion don't do it well just treat it just as one big open fucking vast world. Go everywhere, do anything, you know? And then they kind of just design it in a way that's like lifeless. I think in some games like DayZ and whatnot, the big open terrains kind of makes sense to an extent. To an extent, it kind of makes sense, but it's also still bland. I think it's still bland, but it makes sense in terms of spacing out engagements, spacing out enemies and whatnot. Still kind of boring. I thought it was a huge terrain with hubs of stuff scattered. Yeah, and I think Tarkov kind of followed a similar structure. But I consider Dark Souls an open world game. What is an open world game? I think that's where we start getting into those semantics. Would I consider Dark Souls an open world game? I would say it is a game that has a lot of linear paths that allow you to, as you beat bosses and find keys and whatever, you end up unlocking more of the world. But in reality, if you think about it, it's more like a Metroidvania kind of level structure when you really think of Dark Souls. I would say maybe Elden Ring would be more open. I would consider Elden Ring to be more open. I would consider the Dark Souls games to be more linear open, Metroidvania kind of structure. I think Elden Ring is truly like a lot more open. Because they literally, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, in Elden Ring, you can quite literally at level 1 go to the first boss. Right? Or you can choose to level up, do a few side things, and then go from there. Yeah, and then even Elden Ring kind of mixes in some linear structure as well. Yeah, the dungeons and whatnot. Yeah, the little side things. Those are still, in my opinion, linear. I think it's you have an open area world, and then you can branch out into these like linear kind of areas, and then I feel like that's a good way of going about it. You gotta like, I feel like if you leave your player to being too open all the time, I think what ends up happening is they get overwhelmed, or they might find themselves getting lost or confused. Even you could even technically say Minecraft to an extent has a level of linearity to it. like when you encounter a cave, there is some moments where players will, instead of mining around the cave, they go through the cave, which could be seen to an extent somewhat linear in a way. I know I'm kind of reaching for sticks here, but yeah. Would Hitman be small open worlds, or are they just levels? I would say Hitman is open in the concept that it gives you lots of choice behind how you can engage with something. Like, let's say instead of going up the stairs inside of the building, you instead find a fucking metal pipe and climb it. But it's not open in the sense of like Skyrim or other open world games where you could just jump on anything. They specifically place gameplay elements around for you to navigate, which kind of removes a little bit of that openness that people kind of equate to open world. And instead it's more like there's a level of linearity, but it branches out in different ways that you can go about it and then kind of create your own little sandbox world to an extent. You have no direction, run early into stuff you aren't supposed to, or later things or somewhere they weren't before. Yeah, open world can have that effect. You can accidentally run into the hardest thing that you were not technically supposed to run into. I think the reason why it worked for Elden Ring is because people knew what they were getting into when they played it. They knew what they were getting into, and I think because they knew that if they were to reach a boss, it would be hard no matter what. You know what I mean? Or an enemy or whatever. Like, I think that's the interesting thing about Souls-like games. I'd say an open world contains multiple, if not all, objectives throughout the game. It doesn't prohibit you from taking things from one place to the next. If you have one objective or mission in a single world, it's not open world. That's the thing. I think the definition of open world, there's different levels to it. I'd say I feel like there's different levels to it. Dying Light 2 has got to be one of the craziest level design feats. It's open world through and through. Dying Light 2 is pretty good. It's a pretty good game. I don't know if I played the second one. I think I played the first one, and I liked the first one. Let me see. Hold on. Did I play the second one? No, I didn't play the second one. Played the first one. The second one had those like grassy roofs and stuff like that, right? Dying Light's pretty cool. Yeah. I'd say like fully open world games though tend to I think the thing is even when you do an open world game, you can only put so much density in terms of quality and focus on things. So what ends up happening is a lot of games will end up doing this. They have a big open world and they space everything out. So they'll have like, if you're in a city, for example, like GTA, you'll probably drive around GTA and find some little tidbits here and there because a dev was like, you know, whatever. But most of the time, you'll find most of the unique actual detail in like spacings. And they're kind of like spaced out into like vistas and specific waypoints, or there's that actual like mission specifically tied to that area. So obviously it's going to have more detail. I feel like that's true of any open world game. And then it's just, oh, you drive your car here. Okay. You drive your car here. Okay. And you know what I mean? I feel like that's usually what kind of goes down with open world games. So in reality, what you're basically going through is just the same structure as a non-open world game, It's just you're driving or doing some specific action to get from point A to point B. It's just that it's open. It's kind of like an illusion, I suppose. But obviously, depending on the game, there are some games that do it well, where they kind of add little random stuff that can happen throughout, which I think is always good. Yeah, illusion of choice. To be fair, a lot of games play into that, the illusion of choice. But in reality, they're always trying to push you in a specific direction. Yeah. Like, for example, DayZ. It's kind of open, but not when you really think about it. You're just navigating from... The game is just pushing you to constantly go into a specific, like, area, like either a village or a town or a city. Why? Because you need to loot shit there. You need to get food or resources to keep your character alive. There's no real, like, openness. It's just you going from fucking city to city or military camp to another military camp. That's it. Like, yeah, the forests are basically just loading screens. There is an off chance that you maybe see another player, but in reality, they're kind of there to to control space. Because if a player dies and then respawns, you don't want that player to immediately get back to where they were, right? I think that's one of the factors as to why the forests are kind of so big. But it's kind of like, dude, it's kind of fucking ass. It's kind of ass. I think if I were to play DayZ today, the only way I'd be able to play it is with friends, because then at that point I can at least like have people to chat with. Playing DayZ on your own, that sounds like a nightmare. Did anything happen? Nah, man. Just, just another day. What the? God, I hate seeing this contains a sky dome shit. That's really fucking annoying. Kingdom Come 2 being one of the recent best examples of that. Kingdom Come 2, I think, did a really great job of kind of spacing out a lot of little encounters, and they made force with, I think you can hunt in that game, if I remember correctly. Yeah. RuneScape, I would say, is also a very good, old school RuneScape is a very good example of like doing open world, I think, in a really good way. I feel like it spaces out everything really well. It still has the concept of waypoints and areas that you can actually go, but there's also areas that are kind of outside of those things that have specific skilling things or monsters in specific areas. I feel like RuneScape is very dense. Like, it's a very dense open world, I'd say. There's a lot that happens in RuneScape. I also feel like old school RuneScape has probably one of the most iconic maps. Like, I feel like it's such an iconic... Can I show this on... Let me make sure there's no IP. Okay. Look at this. You got Lumbridge, and then when you go down south, you got like some rats and different monsters down here. But then you also have like, I think you can go down in the swamps, down in the corner here. You got some quests as well over here. You got 2 quests over here. Got your first mining area literally down here, and then as you go up, you go and find like a fucking smelting thing. And then literally you just run a little bit, and you got a whole ass new town right here. In between that, you got like if you're playing a hardcore character that can't trade with anybody, I feel like this windmill, I guess... What would you even do with this windmill? I guess this windmill is good for the first fucking few quests with the cook. I think that's why it's kind of there. Yeah, RuneScape's crazy. I feel like RuneScape is one of the... What's this cringe shit? Turn it off? What do you mean, dude? Starfield has hundreds of open worlds, hundreds of fucking boring open worlds. I really think when a game says and advertises that it has hundreds of worlds, I genuinely think it is the most emptiest game. It is probably going to be 9 times out of 10, 99% of the time, an extremely empty game. Do you know any good procedural open worlds besides Minecraft? Procedural open world games. Like No Man's Sky looks pretty, but it after a bit it becomes extremely like bland. In my opinion. But that's with any procedural open world kind of game. Is it becomes bland after a bit. I think Minecraft, the reason why it's so fucking it's still kicking is because A, it's iconic, and B, there's a shit ton of mods to kind of like keep you in there. Valheim. Valheim's a pretty good one. I feel like Valheim takes some elements of Terraria with the whole bossing structure. You don't learn the lay of the land if it is different every game. Well, you can learn the lay of the land depending on how it's structured. Like maybe the save file is you have the same save file and you just have the same seed. So you can keep you can kind of learn where you're at. You just don't learn it like you would with a game like RuneScape, for example, where you're like constantly in the know-how of learning where everything is. Yeah, No Man's Sky is it's cool. I haven't played the most recent versions. It's cool, but it definitely gets very bland after a bit. Once you start noticing how the generation, like the system generates the levels, it kind of removes the magic from it. It's like, oh hey, they select from like 6 specific objects that match to an extent the randomized theme, not the theme, the biome that you're currently in, and then it just kind of places those randomly with no regard in the space, and it's kind of like it's pretty a few times, and then after that, kind of like, yeah, well, you know, whatever. That's why I think a mix of handmade stuff that like stays static and a mix of actual procedural stuff, I think is really the way to go. You kind of mix the two together. I feel like that's kind of powerful in its own way. Yeah, RuneScape, the world is insane, and everything has like specific quest lines attached to it. It's crazy. That I would say is good open world. It's like everything is dense. There's like things everywhere. As you level up your skills, like agility, for example, you gain access to like shortcuts that then make it faster for you to go from one point to another. You know what I mean? Stuff looks great. Also, somebody asked how the to-do list is looking. It is getting shorter. It's getting shorter. Getting shorter. Slowly but surely. We are thinning out the levels real quick. Mainly because I think players are not able to proceed into the other levels to test them. So I need to get these out of the way fast. I could do a temporary fix, but I think it'd just be better. I just finish the fucking levels so then they could play it, unlock the next series, play those, and then kind of go from there. But yeah. Did I put a tab for this in our patch notes? Improved end screen stats and ranking system. Cool. April 6, 2025. Ambitious, that much left to do. Botnik is being worked on by a different environment artist. Mad Suit is, well, that's what we're working on right now. Charlie, we did some work, I think, yesterday on stream. I think it was yesterday. Might have been yesterday. Actually, we did do multiple things yesterday. We worked on 2 levels, actually. This one and the other one. Sashimi is the only one that needs to be started on Blockout. And I'll probably just try to make this a really quick 30-second level. I don't think I'm going to go too crazy with this one. In-game score system changes. I don't know what Past Me was thinking. I think it was mostly like, let's just add some different score system change. I don't know what we're going to do here. These rely on these being finished. Once these get finished, then these get finished. And then this whole section is done. The UI improvements, not high priority. Don't really need it. Miscellaneous tasks, we could probably get there. And then bugs, we probably do have a few more bugs we need to fix. The suit customization is going to be a big problem, and the new enemies might be a big problem. That's about it. We got this. Now, this is not release date. Even though release is today. This release would be later on, because we need to get a trailer going. We need to do some testing, make sure players aren't reaching any bugs. So after April 6th, it would be like content complete, hopefully, and then the rest would be just bug fixing and patching and any sort of like big issues that pop up. That's about it. So yeah, the 6th. I will crunch if we have to get this shit done. I will. No distractions. I'll order food, even though I shouldn't, but I will. I do have to save some of my money, though. Does your garage have multiple levels, the underground parking place? No, it's just going to be the straight path, because I don't want to do... We already have a parking lot that has some turns and stuff to it already. It has multiple levels. I'm not going to fucking bother with doing shit like that again, so I think it's just going to be this straight path, because we already have this area... We already have this area. You can imagine this is probably a 1 minute long level, and we don't want it to be too long. In fact, I probably could have just cut it off here, but I felt like we needed a third little area, so I'm not going to make it too long. I think this is more than enough. You sure you have enough pillars? We'll have cars. Don't worry. We'll have some cars too. Let's put where the end would be. Where would the end go? Should we put more fences? That could be our thing. Order 1 boba tea per hour to get through the crunch. I'm actually going through the process of buying... I need to go to the store to buy like things like cardamom and a bunch of shit like that. I'm learning how to make my own boba tea. I have a question. How can I save money appropriately with the current economic climate? Don't order delivery every day. That was my biggest spending, was ordering delivery constantly. Hold on. Give me a second. I'm gonna wipe my nose. This guru is a scam. I need your $20. Done. What else must I do to save money? Commit tax fraud. No, don't do that. Invest in Crimcoin. Yes! $C coin. $Crim. Whatever the fuck they call their crypto these days. Those damn bastards. I don't know. Find a high-paying job and get lucky in terms of what's the word I was thinking of? What's that word called where you like just are given a job at a place even though you're like not qualified whatsoever? I forgot what the word is called. Nepotism. Yeah. Participate in nepotism if you're lucky. Fraud? No, not fraud. Although I guess it is considered fraud, but well, it's not fraud, but kind of fraud. Speaking of nepotism, John Software. Apparently he's like pissed off that other people are like beating his fucking subtrain record. That's so funny, dude. And he like said the other people that beat his like hype train record are frauds because they did it during the Valorant thing. Dude, what? Who the fuck? How do people watch that fucking person? I don't get it. Don't get it. John Nanite? No, John Software. John Pirate Software, but don't pirate games software. Did you hear? You heard Motohar's take that Schedule 1 was probably made by a real-life drug dealer who discovered he could make more money by making digital drugs? Does it matter? He made a banger of a game. Good job, drug dealer. Turning a new leaf. Even if he was or was not a drug dealer. If he was or was not, it does not matter. Because he made a great game. I wish I could have that success. Which way's our camera? This way. I don't know, man. I don't need that level of success. Can I just pay my bills and buy food? You know what I mean? I'm alright with anything else, TBH. Legally ruining lives instead of illegally ruining lives, the true dream? No, the true dream is opening up a insurance company and then just fucking watching the money flow in. And then when a fire occurs and everyone needs your insurance, you just bail on them. Yeah, that's the true fucking dream. Insurance companies are the fucking mafia. For a moment, you sounded like Trump. The Schedule 1 guy can afford any food he wants now, even eggs. Damn, the fucking luxury, man. Being able to afford eggs. What the hell? I forgot what eggs tasted like. You know, eggs. They tasted orange/yellow, a little bit of white. Kind of eggy. Yeah. Okay. Okie dokie. So we need to make it so this door can open after you eliminate all the enemies. Let's fucking do it. Here's a true money printer with insurance companies. Don't make your insurance company be the salesman for that company because you get royalties for every account you have plus the commissions. Wait, what? A pyramid scheme? The fuck? Pyramid scheme? Would I debate the Johns? No, I don't really care for that. I don't know how people can waste their time doing debates, to be honest. But I guess it's content. I don't know. I feel like there's some regular schmegular people out there that are like doing debates with YouTubers. It's like, dude, the YouTuber is literally profiting off of your content. They're making money off of you. Because you quite literally are just content for them. Nah, I think I've grown old enough to like not care. I just don't really care. I feel like people that go out specifically to look out to debate with people on any sort of subject, I think specifically have already solidified their feet into the ground in terms of their take, and they're not really trying to debate in terms of like with a person to hear what the other person has to say. In reality, they just want to fucking say shit and like own the other person or whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's actually how insurance sales work. My dad got licensed and everything. The only problem is that you can't do it if you have a criminal record, which my dad had. Damn. Debates are just team sports, not for anyone to learn from. Yeah, I feel like it's just entertainment at that point. It's not like an actual thing. That's why when I see those like political debate stuff, I'm like, this is fucking stupid. this is fucking stupid. Like that Jubilee shit. Ugh. Ugh. You know, Corrado. Ugh. I don't know. I disagree. It's dumb. Prove me wrong. I don't think I will. Yeah, we'll just let the Johns run rampant. Let the Johns do their thing. I just realized this is the wrong mesh or wrong blueprint. What am I making, by the way? A new level? New level? The Giga level. It's called Mad Suit. Marching squares on blueprints? What do you mean, marching squares? You mean marching squares in blueprints? You mean marching cubes? I'm starting a new business, and it's called Surance Company. It's Surance. Its only job is to say, sure, buddy, when anybody asks for consulting. I did my job. I said sure. Marching squares is just marching cubes in 2D? What? Blasphemy. We denied your Surance claim. What? You can't do that. We can. Voxels are just pixels in 3D. Aren't all computer graphics just a bunch of vectors? That's all it is. We just added another dimension to it. It's crazy how we got to this point with computers. Like, I can fucking spin around and all this. Like, it's crazy. Insane. How the hell am I here? How the hell is this working? How does this work? What the hell is this? Okay. Player start. 45 degrees. Checkpoint, I don't know, 2. We'll guess for now. I just realized a problem. We're spawning right where all the enemies would. This is perfect. We added this room for just this reason. Past me was thinking ahead. What a damn genius. What a damn genius. He knew how all of this would go. Figured it out. Where's the damn door? I can't wait to learn C++, guys. It's going to be crazy. Sorry, what was that? What'd you say? Damn, his music is going hard. I'm a graphics kind of person. I can't code well. I, too, thought I was just an art person, and then I ended up becoming more of a programmer for some reason. I don't know how it happened. It just kind of happened. I don't know how it happened. I just ended up being more into the programming side of it. Just got sucked into it. Got sucked into it. Give me the material. No, give me the material. No, give me the material. Where's the material? Give me the... Cool. Hell yeah. Yeah, I thought I was only going to be sticking to art, and then I started doing more blueprinting and stuff, and now look at me. Doing all this stupid code shit. And honestly, when you think about it, coding is just a bunch of stupid variables that you put together, and then you do a couple things with the engine, and then, hey, kablamo. At least currently. That's how it feels. Just, oh, hey, play an animontage, and then... This float in the boolean and then the vector, move the vector here, and the... It's like, that's all I'm really doing. That's partially why I'm kind of sick of this project, because I feel like I haven't been learning anything. I feel like I'm so damn basic. I feel like I'm so basic. I feel like I'm not learning anything. It's part of my problem with this project, I think. I'm not learning anything like complex. I found that there's 3 types of coding positions: coder, programmer, and engineer. Coder is somebody that writes code, hopefully well. Programmer writes good code with intent. Engineer solves problems. Maybe it's code related, maybe it's related to something else. You might be more engineer based. I'm all of those, I think. Ultimately. I'm probably all of those, to be real. To be frank. I like doing a bit of all of those. Engineers, all of those? I guess. I had a light map. I did not. There's a light map in here. Let's make it 4. The lowest light map resolution. Because all this needs to do is cast shadows in here. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Plot twist, the company is expecting you to perform as an engineer in all 3, but they're offering less pay for the other types. So true. So true. Yep, welcome to 2025. They gave you a junior position, but they're actually expecting you to do senior level tasks. Yippee. Yippee. Your job is to make the entire video game. As Solo Game does, we're even above all that. We're full stack engineers. I feel like something that's not really talked about often, that I feel like needs to be talked about a lot more often, is nobody really points this out as YouTubers, is as a solo game dev, or if you even try to embark into it solo, you just have to remember that you are essentially trying to take on a project that has basically every single entertainment media within one fucking thing. Storytelling, books, music, fucking cinematics, or just anything in general when it comes to arts, visuals, etc. It's like art, film, literally everything. And then graphics or programming. And then you got sound design and all these other things. I feel like that's not like, I feel like people don't talk about that often on game dev YouTube. It's like, dude, if you get frustrated, yeah, no shit, you're going to get frustrated. You're basically doing the job of like 20 people in fucking one. So it's okay. It's fine. Take your time. Because that's not a good YouTube video to keep people watching their stuff, probably. Man, what a cringe world we're in. Interview has you breaking into complex government systems. You succeed. You just get offered an intern position. It's unpaid. It's an unpaid internship. All right, time to build lighting. I just realized, by the way, does this have cast shadows turned on? No. Okay, good. Past me thought this through. I'm glad he did. Called Rhino. It's a curve-based modeling suite. Nothing works like it. I don't know. I don't know how any of those work. I've seen some people start using plasticity for weapon modeling workflows and some hard surface modeling workflows. Rhino was plasticity 20 years ago. Oh, okay. Well, that's something. Focus in the area you're best at. You probably won't highlight your game that much in the others. That's why I think I've been going a lot more into focusing on gameplay programming and whatnot, because I think as an indie dev, I feel like I can hopefully, if I focus in that area, I can hopefully make games that match up or do well within that sector. I don't know if I'll be able to ever make a game that is as pretty as like fucking Black Frost, or make a game as witty as Repo or whatever. I'll probably never make games like that, but that's okay. I'm just here to make games and hopefully turn it into a job. I don't know. Not turn it into a job. Actually, I don't want to say that anymore. I don't want to treat this as a job anymore. Because I don't think that's good for my like mental structure of how I do this stuff. I just wanna make shit. I just wanna make shit and then be lucky, hopefully, and people buy it or something. I don't know. I do almost everything in Unreal now with Geometry Script plus C++. I wouldn't be able to do that. I'd still have to model in Blender and whatnot. Yeah. I saw somebody that was modeling an entire environment in Blender yesterday. I just like randomly hopped in their stream and I was like, damn. I used to want to do that workflow, and then for some reason I just didn't want to do that workflow anymore. Would you have been able to go full-time game dev if you didn't have to pay a bunch of taxes for hire? I would have been able to go full-time. I probably would have been able to go full-time game dev if I was not lazy. And that is my own undoing. If I wasn't lazy and didn't make bad decisions in terms of promising so many things for this game, I maybe could have been able to go full-time by hopefully using the funds that the game made initially to potentially try to work on a different game that probably would have had a stronger foundation and idea than Suit for Hire. Although I would say, I do think there is still a huge space for a John Wick style top-down game, or even a John Wick style third-person game. There's so much space for it, I think, still, that can still be explored to this day. Hey, I give it to you guys. Fucking go for it, you know? First person, I think a first person John Wick game is completely against the identity of what makes a John Wick game a John Wick game, is being able to see you doing martial arts moves on enemies and all this kind of stuff. At that point, you're like first person. I feel like you completely remove that concept, and at that point, you're basically just making Call of Duty at that point, or like first person Max Payne. And it wouldn't even be worth doing any martial arts stuffs at all. What's the point? You know what I mean? I don't think there's really. I feel like you lose out on the big idea and concept of what makes it that. I guess that kind of identity. I feel like you would lose out so much on that. Now, there is that one VR game that's also being turned into a PC game that is doing it, but I think the martial arts part of it is like super lacking. I feel like it's, what's it called? Contract Gun? Contract Gun something? What's it called? You guys know what I'm talking about? Contractors? That's funny. Suit for Hire's in here when I searched it up. Contract Gun. Where's that one game? You guys know what I'm talking about? The VR game? Contract. Dude, it has such a long name. I don't even fucking know what it is, dude. Contract. Something. Contract something. Contractor? No, not contractor. Let me search up VR. Contract. VR supported. Gunman contracts. There we go. This has some martial arts, but it's like, I'd say it's just a, I don't know, it's just a shooting game when you really think about it, because I think it's trying to be a bit a movie-inspired shooter, which is, you know, I guess taking a lot from John Wick. Did I see Spine? I think Spine is trying so hard to act like it's John Wick, but I actually think there's literally like footage of where you're just shooting enemies multiple times in the head or in the neck, and you like don't kill them, and it's basically like bullet sponging, and that in my opinion is completely against the identity as well. So I think they're trying so hard to be like gun fu and shit, but it's like weird. It looks kind of cool, I guess. We'll see how like fluid it is, or if it's just, oh hey, you push a button and now your character's doing some cool animation move, I guess. And like, yeah, I don't know, we'll see. You know, Omicron contractors. What's this? No, not this game. Not this one. I saw a video comparing the way they filmed it with an Indian movie. Are you talking about? You are probably talking about Monkey Man, or what it's called? Monkey Man. I think it's Monkey Man. Yeah, Monkey Man. I think that is the one. Yeah. I want to see that movie. I gotta see that movie. I could just make whole levels in Blender instead. You could. I think you just have to follow a specific workflow for it to work properly in Engine. I feel like for one, you need like it to instance and stuff like that. And apparently, there's ways you could do it so it does start auto instancing the meshes. I guess. I don't know. Back then, I really wanted everything to be through Blender, but then I thought about it. I'm like, Okay, we'll just open the fence for now. Guys. We'll also have to put some lights in here, but that's okay. And then that's where we end the chapter. Okay. We got a bit of a block out. Now, obviously, we have to put a bunch of other stuff. But I would say we are essentially in modeling phase now for this. I would argue. Because now that we have a bit of a structure down, the rest is just getting it look cool, adding in cover and cars and stuff in here is going to be pretty important. And then kind of going from there. So I would say this is now in modeling phase. We got a lot of blue in here, which is good. A lot of blue. That's what I like to see. Now, let's turn these into like subtasks. Layout enemies. Layout checkpoints. Underground parking lot enemy wiped sequence. Open gate. Layout enemies, layout checkpoints, underground parking lot, enemy wipe sequence, add cover props, details, things like paper and whatnot, I guess. Maybe some grunge. Before we lay out the enemies, let's go create sublevels for each area. Blender, Krita, Substance, Unreal. Sooner or later, I'll be using Affinity. Which I'm not looking forward to. Not looking forward to having to switch to Affinity, but I am not using Photoshop ever again. So after my subscription expires, which I think is in like June or something, I'm done. I'm done with it. Get out. I'm done. What's Affinity? Search it up. It's like a one-time purchase Photoshop competitor, I guess. But I'm going to be honest, I just don't think it's as good as Photoshop personally. But maybe I just need to give it more of a try and get out of my Photoshop roots. And just, I don't know, the controls felt so fucking weird to me. It felt so ass backwards for some reason. I don't know why. I was like struggling trying to use this, but I remember I bought it. I bought both Photo and Designer. The Designer is basically like Illustrator, I guess, with vectors, vector art and whatnot. Photo would be more like a photo editor, like Photoshop. And then I don't remember what Publisher is. Publisher is, I guess, like, what would Publisher be in terms of the Adobe equivalent? InDesign? I thought InDesign they deleted InDesign. Am I wrong? I thought InDesign was like they stopped updating it or something. The only game dev related issue I've seen with Affinity was trying to export RGBA without it mashing the RGB channels based on the alpha content. Not good for fine tune. Oh, that sucks balls. Oh, that fucking sucks. Are you telling me you can't add an alpha channel to the thing? There's no fucking way, right? You can add an alpha, but it puts influence on the RGB when you export. That's fucking stupid. If that's the case. Well, whatever. What can you do? Oh, I've been missing some fucking messages on YouTube. Gunman started as a mod of Half-Life Alyx that got really popular, so the dev decided to make his own game. I think it's going to be a pretty cool game. I feel like it's harder to block out game environments in Blender, much easier to do in Unreal. Yeah, I feel like it is, especially considering occlusion and all of the instancing and factors associated with it. I feel like Blender can only go so far in terms of making a scene or making a level. I feel like it'd be so much harder to do it in Blender. But I'm sure some people figured out a workflow for it using, what is it, Datasmith? It's probably like Datasmith or something that they use for that kind of a workflow. Or they use, what's the file type? I'm thinking of that specific file type. Not GLTF, not FBX. It's like a specific file type meant for, like, I guess, scene creation or whatever. It's a known issue in Affinity Photo. If alpha equals 0, then all of the RGB values are replaced by 0. It's a known issue, and when was this posted? This was posted in 2022. Okay, so there is a solution. God, this shouldn't have to be this difficult. This should not have to be this complicated. Oh God. I think Affinity, you know what Affinity reminds me of? It reminds me of the Blender community. It's like, hey, deal with it. That's kind of the vibe. It's like, deal with it. That's the kind of vibe. It's that open source kind of vibe, even though it's not even open source. Or it's like, oh, figure out the new workflow and then just do that and then just deal with it. That's kind of the vibe. I don't like that vibe. I had a bad game day today. I decided to take a break from gaming until I don't get emotionally attached to the game, so we start again tomorrow. Which game? Which game were you trying to get detached from? I tried to play Counter-Strike again. For those that don't know, I used to play Counter-Strike a lot. That was like one of my first streaming games. Just doesn't... I don't know if it's maybe CS2 versus CSGO. It just doesn't have that magic anymore, man. It's also kind of baffling. I was looking around. Is there no like match history in Counter-Strike? Is there no match history? You're getting old? Maybe I am. Maybe I am. Is there no match history in CS2? I don't know if CSGO had a match history. How is it that Deadlock has a fucking match history, but Counter-Strike doesn't? That's fucking stupid. Tried to stop renewing my contract today and found out my contracting company renewed me for a year without asking. I tried to cancel. No, I forgot to cancel a specific 1 year annual thing for like a audio thing that honestly the quality of 99% of their sounds are fucking ass. And literally the day of that I got charged, I asked them, hey, could I potentially cancel this and get a refund? And they're like, no, we can't do that. Like, bitch. I guess it's my fault, but also fuck you. Not ever going to speak positively of that piece of shit fucking software. Like 99% of the sounds are just garbage. In the trash. Put them into trash. Substance is the best exporter in packers. Yeah, but if you have to pack a, let's say a stupid marketplace asset doesn't pack their textures and they do everything as separate files, you're not gonna like go into Substance Painter, put your fucking like textures in there and then pack it from there. Like you would go into like thing like Photoshop or something and do it there. If Affinity can't do that, that's gonna be super annoying. And I don't want to use a separate software just to pack my textures. That's crazy. That's wild. Okay, I was thinking we'd work a little bit more on Charlie. And then let me also rename this one from blockout to modeling/detail phase. We also do have to get started on Sashimi. That one we need to get started on. I use Texture Graph in Unreal now for packing textures. That's pretty smart. That would, yeah, you could do that. That's a good usage of Texture Graph. Good call, Middle. Yeah, but that's for like UE5. I guess in UE4, which hopefully I'm going to be out of soon anyways. Yeah, good call. I guess that's a good use of Texture Graph. Literally the one time where Texture Graph actually comes in use. Packing textures. That's pretty smart. Just use the 60 gigabyte download of UE5 for tech. Well, the thing is, if I'm packing textures, chances are I'm probably in UE5 already for the usage of UE5. So, oh, you mean just use UE5 for texture packing and then bring it into UE4? I don't know why this music. It's technically I forgot the name of this game. I don't know why. Why did I can't think of the name for some reason. Katana Zero, I think. This music reminds me of KOTOR for some reason. It's like one. It almost sounds like one of the tracks when you're inside of like one of the bars or cantinas or whatever. It almost sounds a bit like this. Reminding me of KOTOR. Okay. Let's move on to Charlie and see how Charlie's looking. Okay, Charlie level. So last time we worked on this, we got the structure down. It just needs a lot of cover props. We need to start laying out the targets. I think something that might be confusing is the player is going to see this next door room here, but they're not supposed to actually go in there. So maybe I might want to black out this area. It might be an idea where I actually black this out. I don't know yet. We'll see. And then player goes through here, transitions to the next area, does stuff here, can choose to go through the door or go through the window, like an unsophisticated being. And then we have the last area here with the final door. And that's it. That's the whole shtick. That's the whole deal. We just need to add cover props, little shit here and there. And then we're good. And this is kind of like a smaller edited version of the club levels from the Toronto series. There's a little bit of influence. You can tell from this. It's just mirrored. Or like flipped. Which I think is kind of like a little fun idea. So yeah, cool. I'm actually going to delete the light in this one. We don't want the player being able to really see this area. In fact, maybe I'll delete the light from that one as well. Yes. Cool. So if we take a look at beta real quick, it's got rugs, a lot of grunge decals. We got these doors that are like restricted doors that we have to put in as well. That's like an extra little detail thing. We got to put papers on the ground. And yeah. So wait, hold on. Let me see if Alpha had rugs as well. It does. Okay, so that's kind of part of the identity. We also have these grunge decals, so we can maybe get started on that. Let's grab that real quick. Let's grab that gallon tank. Cool. Then we'll just paste those in here. We'll start laying out a couple little details, just fucking copy pasting everywhere. Curious about your reasons not to move to UE5 yet? Issues you might have encountered swapping. I just don't want to deal with swapping a game that's already in early access into UE5 because I feel like that could have some unforeseen consequences. Players encountering issues that I might not be able to fix, and then at that point it just becomes more of a headache that honestly doesn't gain me too much like it doesn't give me that much in terms of how much return I would get from it. You know what I mean? Like the only feature I think I would use for UE5 in this specific project, like we're so far in with the level design that I don't see any use for PCG or any of those kind of features for this project. The only thing I could see useful is motion warping. That's about it. I think it's motion warping for like the root motion editing. That's probably it. Yeah. So I just don't think there's like too much of a benefit, I guess, for me to go to UE5. There's too many risks I feel like involved with it. So that's one of the main reasons. I think for my next project, I'll be doing it in for my next project, I'll be doing it in UE5 for sure. You adapt. How many levels do I plan for the final game? We currently have 11 out of 15. We are working heavily on 3 of them, almost done those, and then Sashimi is the last one that has not been started yet. Now how many levels that is, I don't remember. I don't know. We're probably at like 30 or something. Probably at like 30 levels. Whatever that entails. €36 back. I can go to McDonald's maybe once with that money. Yeah, you're I think you're stretching a little too far there. All right, McDonald's is a bit luxury now. Okay, you'd have to tone it down a little bit. I'm thinking maybe like a pack of eggs. Yeah, I'm thinking a pack of eggs. You might be able to do a pack of eggs. I'm technically lucky. People my age aren't getting money back. They're paying. I've already paid some of my taxes throughout the year. I have to start doing that now through installments, which is incredible. So I think I technically paid most of my taxes this year. I'm still doing some of my bookkeeping from last year. So figure that out. My accountant hasn't gotten back to me. It's been 2 months. I don't know what it is with accountants, but they really love to fucking respond last minute. That's great. I had to pay over 1K euros this year. Ouchie. I don't know how much I've paid already. I think it's like a bit. It's a bit of money. See, like another example of something I feel like could be done in a generative way are these decals. I feel like these decals, I could probably randomly generate them. Like the grunge decals and stuff. You would eat my savings. I need those to survive this month. Man, it really sucks the amount of people that really are just like living on fucking scraps. Not scraps, but you know what I mean. Like they're living like paycheck to paycheck, or like the littlest of savings is like such a necessity for them to, like, that shouldn't have to be how people need to live in 2025, but alas, here we are. It's unfortunate. Like, I've been able to grow my savings, but it's because I'm lucky I'm not in debt. I didn't go to school or anything, so I'm not paying anything off of there. But I know a lot of friends that are still trying to pay off all their debts and whatnot. All right, so we have a nice color variation now. Take a look. Okay, we're missing a little bit here. Let's put one in the corner there. Let's go ahead and scale some of these up. Not paycheck to paycheck, but not working a whole month is rough. Yeah, I think I'm in a privileged situation where I could probably work a few. I could probably be without a few contracts or without payment right now, and I'd be fine. But we'll see how much I have to pay in taxes this year. What was the other shit I need? Hold on. Thai iced bubble tea and cloves. That's everything I need. Yeah. Had to pay 30K in taxes, and after back and forth, they reduced it to 10K. That's fucking crazy, dude. I'm so glad I don't live in Switzerland anymore. Well, fucking what? What a piece of shit, dude. I'm technically paying tax installments, so they calculate that based off your last tax submission. They like calculate how much you'd have to pay, which kind of sucks because it's like if you have a good month as a contractor, sometimes you have a good year, sometimes you have a bad year. And I think they have some stuff in there, so it's like if you don't end up reaching a certain threshold, then you don't have to pay it. And you could probably contact them, I'm sure, and be like, hey, I'm not gonna be able to blah blah blah. So I'm sure that's possible. But yeah, I've had to start doing that where I pay throughout the year rather than at the end of the year, which is I think a little ridiculous. But taxes are such a funny concept when you really think about how it goes down. Because a lot of like there's some big companies that'll just like route everything through like doing some trickery. You know what I mean? I have a 15K PC setup, but I can only afford this because I have no girlfriend or gotcha addiction. Imagine if I have to replace my washer and dryer. See, that's the thing. Once you start going into like things like that, that shit can suck. Build lighting. Yep. In Switzerland, it also varies from canton to canton and city to city. You might get more leeway or just pain in the asses that are not going to bulge. Here we have, we do have provincial taxes. So depending on which province you're in, oh, this is really dark. I might put it like a separate light in here. We do have province to province differences in terms of percentage. But I don't know about city to city. Not sure about city to city. Also, I said canton. I think it's canton. Canton, which I don't really know what that means. I guess that's like province or like region. Region to region. I feel like I've heard that word, canton. It sounds familiar. Province more, yeah, basically like a province. Started the COVID pandemic, I had the car engine go out on our only mode of transportation. I was panic buying a new engine. Worse still, it broke down on the way to take my wife to the ER for breathing issues. Fucking. Yeah, COVID was a shitty fucking time period, I think, for everyone. That always sucks. The world just kind of like works against you sometimes. It's like, hey, you remember that washer slash dryer you had? Well, hey, random problem. There's a bit of flooding in your basement. Hey, whoosh. Health issues. Hey. Yeah, man. Got hit with a 25 centimeter lung tumor? Jesus, man. Well, hope things go well. All right. How's this looking? We added a couple little details. We should go through like a checklist of like shit that we have in the other levels. All right, back to beta. We have papers. Papers, please. Papers, papers, papers. Let's get some papers up in here. Papers, papers. Yeah, paper. All right, single, randomize. Yep. Literally 90% of our floor details are, you guessed it, papers. Nice. So we need to change some settings in here. We wanted to cast static shadows, but not dynamic shadows. No collision. Yep. Yep. Uses occluder. Nope. 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 Should this affect distance field lighting? No. No, I don't think so. Oh, dude, hell yeah. Balatro? Fuck yeah. I read one of the most uninformed comments on a YouTube video about game optimization. The guy said something like they actually have an area with tons of assets hidden underneath the map. No wonder the performance sucks, but those rooms are there for fast loading of assets. Gamers, when they find out that asset packing and PSO and caching isn't a thing, or else their game starts fucking stuttering. What? What? They have all the fucking things load at the beginning. What? Gamers, when they find out there's no magical fucking solution to everything being loaded and trying to circumvent the stuttering. What the fuck? It's 2025? Yeah, that's my fucking point too, asshole. Why do... People when they're dude, I think the hottest take when people are like, dude, the tech is already as good as it fucking can get. Like, how much better can we get, motherfucker? We can get a lot better. Okay, we can't. It should be able to get a lot better. Listen, we're not there yet. I love that take that people have. They're like, it's already, dude, game graphics are already amazing. We don't need to get any better. It's not. It's fucking flawed. That's why Unreal is trying to do the whole nanite lumen thing. I get why they're trying to do it. I'm not using it, but I get it. Why don't they backport? Just change the code from 1.21.1 to 1.20.1 and it just works. The gaming industry. The gaming community. The gaming community. It doesn't help. You know what? You know what also kind of hurts part of this discussion is the whole AI thing. You have these dumb wits that are like, oh, dude, yeah, you just push a button and vibe code or whatever the fucking the game makes it for you. Like, I feel like that doesn't help this subject either. It doesn't help the subject at all. I remember 13-year-old me saying the same thing about Tomb Raider. I think all of us probably, when we were young, were probably like, at some point, we probably all had the take, why can't they make this game multiplayer? We were probably all oblivious to an extent. That's why I kind of just ignore the subject. It's like, listen, you'll figure it out as you get older. Someone will tell you. I don't need to do it for you. They go, I don't like those features, like that negates what we explained. At that point, man, dude, I don't know how you handle that Discord. I would have just timed that person out. It's like, listen, man, just read what people are saying and just fucking sit down. Here's a dunce cap. It's so funny. Gaming. We should do if they're rude or we ignore it. I would just say just ignore it unless they're being annoying about it. Default. We put papers. Dunce cap would be a great badge on Twitch. Oh, we already have one. It's the it's whatever that Elden Ring one is. The Raging Wolf Helm. I don't know what it is. There's a tendency, people that have the Raging Wolf Helm tend to say some stupid shit. Is that the Balatro theme? It is. I kind of want to go back though. Here we go. Yes. Replay. Balatro 2. Did you see the flying video I posted on General? I found such an exploit after the devs went, yeah, it's basically vintage. Listen, man, that's fucking making games. Especially a game like that with Minecraft and the amount of fucking things that are playing against each other. There's always going to be weird things that pop up. Can I ask you something? Well, you just asked me. If you can ask me something. So, like, do I use the damage sense and AI perception? I do not. I do not. What I do is I wake up the enemy if they take damage, and I just don't use the damage sense. That's why I don't use the AI perception system as much. I like genuinely 90% of my perception is like my own systems now. I think the only thing I use is hearing. And that's about it. In which way wake up? It depends on how they take damage, but generally what they do is they'll just immediately aggro on the player. I'll just run my aggro system on them. I'm making them flinch every time the mechanics chat and the dev server lights up because every time anything is pushed to a snapshot, I break it within hours. Well, you know, I guess that's kind of a good thing, Dapt. I feel like they might prefer you breaking something rather than some random guy fucking breaking it and then complaining, and then you have a build that has a broken bug and now everyone's complaining and being a doofus about it, you know what I mean? I'd rather internal people find a bug than player than like the build being out there public and it's like, yeah, you know what I mean? How's the hearing detection done? The AI controller has... I looked at some of the code and some of it's complicated, like way more complicated than it needed to be. I was so confused. On the AI controller, they have a listener, if I remember correctly, a perception listener. Where the fuck is it? Here. They have a AI perception listener with the implementation of hearing, and then whenever you want to shout out to other actors nearby, I think it's just a where is it? I think it's just noise. You report a noise event, and then you do range, and then I think it calls out to everything in a range. Now, the thing is, I was kind of perplexed by this. I don't think they use like a sphere overlap or anything like that. I think they always keep track of listeners in an array. I think, if I remember correctly, when I was looking through the code, they like keep track of every listener, everything that has an AI perception, and then it goes through an array and checks their distances from this location. What the fuck? Why? You're woozy? So you're pining for the cards? Dude, I have not played Balatro in a while. I do want to play it again. I feel like I got sucked in. It's dangerous. Yo, Scotty. I don't know if I said hi. Does it have some sort of permanence? So if a wall is in between the characters, can they path to it? No. I don't think it has anything that complex. That's where I think the hearing detection, you have to kind of make your own system at that point. I think the hearing detection does not care about... Does it? No. I don't think it cares for objects in between. You'd have to make your own system for that. That's why I just don't use the built-in AI perception as much. Because I think you're better off just kind of doing your own thing, honestly. Airport game? The last time I was in an airport and taking flights and stuff, Balatro was a perfect time killer. It was great on the Steam Deck. It was fantastic. Great way to kill time. Fantastic way to kill time. I don't know what other games I was playing. I was probably playing Hades as well, I think. I think I played Hades. I don't remember. Don't remember what I was doing. All right, let's see what other details we need to slap in here. How do you manage patrolling guards if you have one? I have an actor. It's a bit stupid. I have an actor that is literally just a actor that handles the the locations, so an array of vectors. And then the enemy, I believe, has a reference to that if they have a patrol route. They can have a reference to that. If they have a reference to that, they're going to start walking back and forth. And I believe in the AI behavior tree, they will check if this is valid, and if it is, they'll start walking between them. Kind of I'm sure there's probably better ways of doing that, but that's how I do it. I think it's in the behavior tree. Let me see. Check out, I guess, elite. Probably in passive. Yeah, see? If patrolling is set, they're gonna patrol move too. Can you give them places of interest and have some nearest priority? No, this is as basic as it gets. I literally just have points, and they just go from one point to the next. Once they reached a point, they go to the back to the other point or the next one. That's basically it. My AI is very stupid and basic, even though I tried to make them a little bit more advanced. But I can't be bothered anymore editing the AI. All right, let's get some military watchtowers up in here. Let's get some little details up in here. These are like nice little third-person details. I also think they show up in top-down, so that's kind of cool. Nice little detail on the outside. But it shows a bit of depth in third person as well, which I think is great. I realize how complex the Metal Gear PMCs are. The beauty of AI is making the AI feel complex, but in reality, the code they have is stupid simple. That's the trick. You make them seem complicated, but in reality, they're just going through a bunch of different is true statements, and that's really it. That's really what it is. This door is still visible through the walls, which is not very pretty, I will say. Might want to change that. All right, detail wise, where we at? We got papers, we got some grunge decals, we got some other various things. Very good, very good. I feel like we're missing some color, though. We're missing a bit of color that I feel like beta has. So much more color. Now there's more props, so I guess that helps quite a bit. And there's also like these electrical cables and stuff helps too. So we might want to do a little bit of that. I like the idea of reusing this power box. We don't use this prop enough, even though I did a whole fucking texturing of it and everything. I think it's a handmade texture. Yeah, it is. It needs a bit more love. Do I spawn all the AI in one load? Every enemy AI, I think, has a timer on it. And if the player's close enough, they'll start actually like spawning their behavior tree and stuff like that. So it's like they have a cheap version of it. I would not recommend doing that though. I would recommend just having a spawner that will spawn them rather than doing all of that other shit. Because it's kind of annoying. Not the best thing ever. Trigger volumes? No. They all have a timer that deviates a little bit. Like every 2 to 3 seconds, they'll check how close the player is. And then once they're in range, then they'll activate themselves and basically spawn all their necessary functionality. In a forest? AI is, I think AI, in my game, AI is the biggest CPU hitter. Mainly because they use the character movement component. I think that's the biggest thing. Which kind of sucks. Kind of sucks. I'm thinking we could put another rug right here. I lose 30 to 40 FPS with AI. Uses motion matching as my player. That's why. Oh yeah, I would not put motion matching on enemies. I think motion matching is primarily a hero character thing, and that's it. I honestly think motion matching, it's cool and all, but it's like not worth it. I think it's cool. It fits certain games. I feel like it fits more so like single player adventure style games. I'd rather just do a traditional locomotion blend shape workflow and just do that, honestly. Like it's not worth it. What do you make some sort of herd dynamics? You can move them in a formation or a group without increase or decrease load. It depends on what you're doing, but yeah, obviously you could do stuff like that. It was depends on the context. How would you make a landing zone where you could place buildings? What building blocks do I need? How would you make a landing zone where you could place a building? Building blocks do I need? I'm not sure what you're asking, Forrest. How would you make a landing zone where you could place a building? A landing zone. I'm not sure what you mean. The Celestial theme? I don't remember this. What the hell is this? Celestial theme? It's funny to think that all of the themes of Balatro is the same theme, just with adjustments. Some slight adjustments, some slight synth changes, and it's become such an iconic theme now. That's how I feel like a good soundtrack is just, it's all it comes down to is a specific melodic pattern that comes back in as the soundtrack as the game progresses. I feel like that's kind of the pattern I've noticed. I could be wrong. I'm not a music person. So I'm just a guy pushing buttons. I don't know what half of what goes on. Oh, like an RTS game, a landing zone where you could place a building. Uh, I don't know. You'd have to you'd probably work off of a grid if you're doing an RTS. And then if you're working off a grid, you would just check if that grid spot is free by checking the size of your building that you're placing, I guess. I don't know. I've never made an RTS, so I wouldn't really know. Never tried it. Yeah, nor have I made like a grid building thing. That's probably what I would want to do for the zombie survival game, though, is make some sort of thing like that. Okay. Yeah, we just need some additional details. I'm thinking we could put like a door here. Like a fake door you don't really go through. We should put like 2 of them. How am I doing it in these levels? Is it like an actual door? This one? Oh, it is an actual door. I guess that makes sense. What's a good soundtrack like Balatro? What's some music we could listen to that's similar? Chill video game music. All right. Have I tried Unity before? Yeah, when I first started game development. And I only tried it for like a few days, and then I wasn't into it. That's about it. Yeah, that's about it, really. Is there a way to activate the ABP of the AI only when they're close enough? You can deactivate and activate it, I believe, whenever you like. That's one way of going about it, which I think I do. There's also some optimization stuff on the skeletal mesh to make it run if it's like on screen or off screen or whatever. Another thing you can look into. Kindred, thank you for the raid. How's it going, man? How you doing? Going good? Hell yeah, dude. I'm glad to hear of it. What'd you do today? Did you work on the new game? What the? Probably not a good idea doing what I just did there. Additionally, this needs to be above it. Basics UI are pretty easy, but it has a lot of in-depth features. It's a full suite program. It's got a bunch of shit. Added some cool mechanics like levers, movable objects, and an explodable object. Wait, for for the hide and seek game? Or not hide and seek. I guess it would be like what would you call that? Treasure hunting? The hidden object RPG. Right. Interesting. Explodable objects. Would I consider Unreal easier than Unity? No game engine is easy. Making a game is not easy in general. Would I consider it, for me, it was a bit more beginner friendly because of blueprints? Yeah, I guess. But some would argue that Unity is easier because they just have a better grasp on syntax coding. I just don't know how to syntax code. You can deliver a TNT to a crate now and it'll blow up a cave revealing... Ah, very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I like stuff like that. That'll add a lot of depth to your game. People will think, oh, it's just you just click shit. Isn't that all video games? You just fucking click things. All right, push a few buttons, click a few things, and kablamo, it does some cool shit. I bet Godot is easier. No game engine is easy. I think that's an illusion. I think there's just the game engine that fits your interests. Something that just clicks in your brain a bit better. Personally, think Unreal is easier for me. For me, I find it easier as well, but I can understand why people would think it is overwhelming to an extent as well. I get it. There is a lot of features. I think you just have to build a muscle to ignoring certain parts of the engine when you don't need them. I think that's ultimately what it's about. About ignoring parts of the engine that are not needed for you. Every time Epic announces some new feature, I'm like, whoa, that's gonna be so cool to experience when some other dev uses it in their game. Some features of some new features of UE, I'm like, that's cool. And then some other times I'm like, you guys really spent time on this? I think we're at a state with Unreal where things are really cool. We got to a really good state. Let's just polish it, you know? Let's just polish the goods, you know what I mean? Let's let's just polish the goods. It's feeling a pretty good state, but I don't think we're ever going to get that. It's always going to be new feature, new feature, new feature, which is, I think, kind of toxic, but alas. Do you program there a lot, or do you simply use the blocks, or how it's called in UE? Never tried UE, but I've seen something like that in UE. Blueprints. You're talking about blueprints? I mostly use blueprints. I use a bit of C++, but not a lot. I told people it's basically like playing Sims. Unreal Engine. I wouldn't say it's like playing Sims. In an ideal world, that would be the case, but in reality, it's like playing Sims if Sims wanted to kill you every like half second. It's like instead of you making the swimming pool and removing the staircase, it's them putting you in the swimming pool and removing the staircase. You better watch out. They might put you in the damn swimming pool. You might not like it. I actually think because the floor is concrete and this is concrete, this might actually just work better with wood. A wood texture on it. That looks kind of weird. I don't know how I feel about that. Poopy. If The Sims had to be played in the cockpit of an F-16. Yeah, there we go. That's a really good way of looking at it. That's probably a good way of looking at it. Yeah, that's a very good explanation. You got like 5 million buttons. It's like, what the hell does this do? You end up getting launched out of the fucking thing. Oh, that was the emergency eject button. Oh, okay. You float in the air with your parachute. Those emergency ejects must cause like spinal injuries. It must cause injuries. It must. There's no way like you don't end up injuring yourself in that. Like you're alive, but like you have a fucking your spine compressed on itself. Like that's probably what would happen. Less injuries than the ground does. Yeah, you know. You still probably keep your life. It's just I wonder how that stuff works. We do need doors. I need some doors. I'm off to lunch. Hey, enjoy the food, man. Enjoy the food. I'm getting pretty hungry. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, enjoy the food and thank you again. Talk to you soon, Kindred, or whenever you stream next. I'll try to hop in or something. Is this UE4? It is. Yes. Yes. The Unreal Engine of 4. Birthday stream on Thursday. All right, I'll put it on my I'll put it on my calendar. All right, I'll put it on my calendar. I'll be 36 again. What do you mean again? How does that work? Don't worry, 36 is young. I've decided I'm not going to age anymore. It was cool in my teens, but not as cool in my 30s, so I'm opting out of that feature. Yeah, my back agrees. My back agrees. I'm not even in my 30s and my back agrees. We should cancel aging. Someone write it on Twitter. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. I turned off aging in the INI file. All right, where do I find that? Is it in my app data? Let's go. All right, go get your food, Kindred. I'm not gonna fucking hold you hostage. All right, go get your damn food. I know you're starving. I'm starving right now. Remember when you were given your age in half years to look older? That was a long time ago. You know, I still remember one quote from my grandfather when I turned 10. He was like, "Oh wow, you're in your double digits now." I still remember that. You're in your double digits now. And now looking back at it, I'm like, man, I wish I wasn't in my double digits. Let's fucking go back. Let's go backwards. let's go back to 9 years old. All right, let's go. Come on. Chop, chop. Don't have all day. All right. Let's go back to non-double digits. I thought it was cool back then. Now I'm looking at it. I don't think so anymore. Don't know how to feel about it anymore. It ain't so cool no more. Oh, I did use the lights, actually, on enterable doors. Interesting. I might do that. I might, in fact, come with me. We're going on a trip on our favorite rocket ship. Flying through the sky. Ain't old until you reach triple digits? Motherfucker, I ain't reaching that. Let's be real. I ain't fucking reaching that. Let's be completely honest with ourselves. Ain't no fucking way I'm reaching triple digits. Not in this economy. I already got like 8 gray hairs. How the fuck do you think I'm gonna reach triple digits? I'm not even in my 30s and I got 8 gray hairs. Where's my light? Where the fuck did it go? Guys, help. I swear. Oh, there it is. Oddly enough, it's already positioned and ready to go for the exit door. Or, well, the next stage door. Do those lights have IES profiles? They do not. They do not. IES profiles, I believe, do not work on... Oh, this is stationary. I could, in theory, put an IES on this, but IES does not work on static lights, if I remember correctly. Whoop. Yeah, IES does not work on static lights for some reason. Or static baked lights. They don't at all? I don't know. They could. I could be wrong, potentially. But I remember reading that IES does not work on static lights. IES is for in real life stuff. Well, it's just a profile of how the light looks. But the thing is, I believe they take a bit more resources to render. In theory, you could use it for anything. Sure, it doesn't necessarily have to be for realism. It's just like it's like a mask for your light. It's basically a mask for your light. I don't really know how else to really explain that. All right, we got some doors. Let's check it out. It could actually be seen as a speedrun trick, shooting the door open. Feeling good. However, this part of the room is very big. If the player chooses to go through the window, they have to, in theory, know where the enemy would be here. We could put like a cover piece here, and then that could be an indicator where to fire. And then that could be like a visual trick, which I think could be kind of cool. Cool. We got the doors in. Oh, I don't have a subtask list for this. Of course I don't. Let's do layout targets. Layout props. Electrical line details. We have a fake door here. However, we need another one over yonder. Very cool. Yeah, it's very cool. We have a door over there. Cool. And then I'm thinking one more in here. In that door over there. This room is inaccessible, so this is purely just an extra detail. Purely an extra detail. Okay, that adds some cool little details. This adds a cool little detail of a fake door. We cross it off as like, hey, don't go through this. This door is not real. It's not a real door. Okay. Cool. This level's looking good. We're getting a little bit more detail up in here. This room has a light. Got a nice little bit of contrast. I think that's cool. Let's get an arrow up in here as well. Why not? Fuck it. Arrow, 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 arrow. Oh, you're making another level instead of finishing the game? No, this was always on the scope list. And we're getting there. It's like almost done. Look at this list. The only thing that we haven't started is this level. That's the last one we need to get started on. The sashimi level. We need that ASAP. We need that ASAP. How you doing, Inex? Look at this list. We're thinning out the list. We're thinning it out. Our biggest targets, I think, is suit customization. We really need to start crossing some of this stuff out here. We are getting there. We're getting at the finish line. We are getting to the finish line. Yep. Yeah. 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 I've got like, I think a week or two of like no distractions in terms of other work, I believe. So we should be able to get to the 6th. Suit for hire before GTA 6? No way. Dude, hell yeah. What if I release my game and then the day I release the game is the day that GTA 6 releases their next like trailer? Oh, that would suck. that would probably suck. Yeah, that would probably suck. That would be shit. Yeah, that would suck balls, I believe. Let's put a carpet in this extra room. I know we don't need to put that many details, but we should put like something in here just to kind of break it up a little bit. And then let me got that light over there, pretty cool. Cool. All right, build lighting. What do we on this list? We got layout targets, layout props, electrical line details. What are some other details that we placed in some of the other levels? I think we had some floor decals. No, I think we kept that specifically just for this one. But maybe I'll put one over there where the blue door is. Looking good. Looking real good. Let me check the other level. Well, the game got third person. It has third person in the beta currently. Oh yeah, we don't use it. We only use it in the end. We kind of created this like language to the player. Hey, red door with cross hatching kind of, or this kind of cross thing is the end of the level. I think we'll keep that. Oh yeah, ammo boxes. Reflection captures. What are some other details we put into these here? Things on the outside. But yeah, the game has third person in the beta branch. It's okay. It works okay. It's not the best third-person camera in the world or anything like that, you know? Wait. That box has a metal? What kind of material is this? Oh, it uses metal dull. No. That kind of sucks. I might want to change that. I don't know if I can change it on... I don't know if I can change the actual physical override here. Cardboard. Oh, paper, I think it was. I don't think it's going to actually... Yeah. Oof. That sucks. I think first person would be really cool too. I think because of the nature of the game, I feel like first person you'd lose out on all the details of like doing the executions and all those kind of cool moves. You basically just lose all of that in first person. I would do it just for fun, but I can't be bothered. There is the VR mode, I guess. That's like the closest I think you'd get to a first person experience in this game. Is if you had a VR headset, I guess. And you were using UEVR, the UEVR plugin. I think third person was just easy because we don't have to recreate a lot of the animations. In first person, you basically have to create a whole new view model for it to not look poopy. I think as a joke, we did it one time just to kind of see what it would look like if we just zoomed in the camera. It didn't really fit the bill, I'd say. I think third person is passable, but yeah, first person would probably be tough. It'd be a tough one. I'm gonna copy this mesh. And we're gonna reuse it in a corner somewhere. Where is a corner that could do with a nice little detail that the camera can see? This corner right here. Yeah, this corner, that corner. I did not realize how big this is. This is long. All right, cool little detail. We get something in the corner there. I like it. What does it provide? I don't know. Don't ask me these questions. I'll make a game, but first I have to learn like 3 pieces of software and run into every issue known to man. Just do that while making the game. You'll be fine. You might get a couple angry customers, but just you'll be fine. And don't worry about it. It's fine. It's all part of the job. I have to make sure these don't cast dynamic shadows. I have to be a little bit more lenient with this because this could get very, very expensive very quickly. And we basically do that on all of our objects, which is not very good. I think there's a lot of optimizing I could do with this game. Like a lot, I'm sure. Yeah, we have the most dangerous level right now is Sashimi because that has not been started whatsoever. So I think tomorrow we're gonna get started on Sashimi. I think that has to be done. Do you know how well it runs on a Steam Deck, for example? I think on medium settings, medium quality settings, you can get up to 60 FPS, I'm pretty sure. But I think we can do some optimizations to make that feel better. I got to play through the game again on my Steam Deck to see how it operates. I feel like there's definitely some stuff that we could have probably improve a lot. There's probably stuff we could improve in the older levels because I've changed my entire like lighting workflow. I started to use a lot more static lights because it doesn't look pretty. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it at least performs better. The thing with static lights is that it's like just fully baked. You don't have to do like, but the only problem is it doesn't help with specularity. It doesn't cast any dynamic shadows. That's the only kind of like problem. But of course, you have to take into account the light complexity, all this kind of stuff. You have to take that stuff into account. But I think you can get up to 60 FPS. I think you can, pretty sure, by lowering some of the settings. I don't think you can play on epic settings on the Steam Deck. You can, but you'll probably get like 30 FPS, which is not enjoyable, in my opinion. For me, it's not very enjoyable. Interesting. We have a checkpoint. I placed a checkpoint, which doesn't make any sense because this level doesn't have checkpoints. It's just a level you go all the way through. Okay. Feeling good. Feeling good. Getting hungry. Got to figure out food. I kind of want to order food for this week, but I also don't. But if... Yeah, I don't know. Should I? To like for the final stretch of working on this game? I don't know. I'll figure it out. Anywho, tomorrow, I think the goal is we're going to get started on sashimi. Like off stream, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on these 2 levels and hopefully get them done. Hopefully get them done. Fingers crossed. That's what I'm going to try to do today off stream, is to get these two fuckers done. And then I think this one, I got to check it out, what the progress is of this level. Maybe I can get that stuff done too. So then that way we just have one final level to work on this week. And that way we can focus on all of these other tasks that we have to get out of the way, such as suit customization and the new enemies that I'd like to do, if I even get to that. If I could even get to that at all. Yeah. Hopefully longer stream throughout this week, though. Longer streams. When is the 6th? Is that like Saturday or something? Sunday? It's a Sunday. Okay. Game's looking good. Thank you. It's getting there. Getting there. It is getting there. Anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for dropping by. Thanks for lurking, chatting, sticking around. I need to get some food because I'm hungry. I might just, I don't know, I'll figure what I end up doing. Yeah, maybe I like meal prep or something. Maybe I get like, buy like a bunch of chicken breast or something. I've been feeling the wanting to just eat boring chicken breast. I don't know why. And rice. Or couscous or some carb heavy meal. Anyways, goodbye. I'll see you guys tomorrow, where I will probably have more progress on this done, most likely. This list will be thinner by tomorrow. I will make it go on a diet. All right, goodbye. See you later.